All right. If you could start off by saying and spelling your first and last name and giving us your title.
Hey, I'm State Senator Richard Briggs from Knox County, Richard Briggs.
All right. And let's just kind of start off with what we're here to talk about. What are some of your legislative priorities this session?
Well, as a chairman of really the busiest committee, I carry a lot of bills, but there's several bills that I think will be pretty important bills that I'll be dealing with. Some of these are still works in progress, and some of them I've already filed, and we'll see how it works out. One that I'm certain will be very controversial is a medical necessity termination of pregnancy, and I'm going to be calling the bill the Tennessee Right to Have Children and a Family Act. We made some modifications of the worst aspects of our trigger bill that passed in 2019 last year. I carried that bill, but we still have certain medical conditions that would lead or could lead to a woman's infertility. In other words, she becomes sterile and no longer have children if they're not treated properly. And what this bill would do, it would allow some of those conditions to be treated so she could have future children and a family. And also it would deal with some of the medical situations that involve severe genetic defects, or some of these where it's a fetal medical pregnancy and a child cannot live outside the womb. And rather than putting the mother's life at risk, we know, unfortunately, that she's going to lose her child. But this would allow, of course, her not to be at risk and also to be able to have future children. The second bill that I'm working with that probably will take a couple of years to work its way through is a trash bill. As you know, Tennessee has a very bad trash problem, and the Tennessee River is the most plastics polluted river in the world. And what this bill would do is to form a task force to look at the entire program of not only trash but plastics pollution and see what we can do about it as a state. We've been blessed by having just a beautiful area to live in, and we shouldn't be having all of these microplastics in our Tennessee River and all the trash that we see along the highways. Another one that will be somewhat controversial, we started to address it in the special session after the Covenant school shooting in Nashville. We'll deal with a bill on the release of autopsy findings in both children and adults to the public that request those under the Open Records Act. This will have to deal with the question, does a person's medical confidentiality extend like it does before life with our HIPAA laws to afterlife if there's an autopsy that's been performed? And again, that bill is a work in progress. It was a very controversial bill during our special session in August because there were media outlets that wanted to get the pictures and the records of the children that had been killed. And we really didn't have good laws of covering that. And a lot of the parents of the children that had been killed were very upset that might happen. So we're going to try to address that with this bill. And then the final big bill that I'll be carrying this year is actually a resolution that we intend to run relatively early in the session that deals with term limits for Congress. Last session, the 2023 session, the House passed that resolution that could eventually lead to an Article 5 constitutional convention if enough states pass a resolution to do this. And I'm carrying the bill this year in the Senate. That will still be several years down the line, but it would have a major impact if we do get to the point where we would be discussing and debating term limits for Congress.
All right. So I have three questions about three of your bills. So we'll start off with the for lack of a better term, the abortion
Yeah.
bill. So if I remember correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, I don't think I am, but if I remember right, you were one of the only Republicans that you were very outspoken about the trigger bill and the issues you had with it.
Yes, and we did pass a bill last year that allowed terminations of, well, there really weren't even terminations of pregnancy, but the trigger bill, if a woman had a ruptured tubal pregnancy, which is a life-threatening condition for the woman, and also, I mean, there's no possibility whatsoever that that a fetus could survive, but it would still, under the trigger bill, still would have been a crime for a physician to save the woman's life. We fixed that. There's a thing called a molar pregnancy. There is a intrauterine fecal death that would allow that, and then we also put some vague language in there about if the woman's life was at risk or she would have permanent organ damage. Those are Tennessee law now. But what we did not address are some of the conditions where a child cannot be carried and delivered alive, or it can't deliver after birth. But if you don't treat these conditions properly, a woman could end up not able to have children at all. And then that's part of it. And then the other part of the bill would be dealing with these medical fetal pregnancies. These are some of the most severe multiple genetic defects that would not allow life outside the womb, but not force the woman to carry the pregnancy to term, where she not only would be risking her life, her health, but also her fertility and her ability to have future children and have a future family.
All right. I think that answered the question that I was asking. So your second bill on the trash, obviously
Yes.
you said that the Tennessee River is the world's most popular, or not most populated, but most
Polluted river in the world.
right.
There's a, excuse me, there's been a German scientist that has been following this for 10 or 15 years. And some of the other polluted rivers, the Yangtze River in China, the Volga River in Russia, at one point the Rhine River in Germany, but those have been cleaned up. And unfortunately, the Tennessee River is the most microplastics polluted river in the world. There's been articles in the New York Times, National Geographic. There's been a lot of attention nationally to this problem, but I don't think that it has really caught the attention of of those of us that live in Tennessee. Also, Tennessee is one of the most biodiverse rivers in the world, which I think gives us even more of an impetus to say, let's not destroy something that belongs to us, that is such a valuable natural asset, not only to us, but really to everyone in the world.
All right. And my third question was about the HIPAA.
Yeah, the medical.
Yeah. So my question to you, as a medical professional, do you think that HIPAA protection should be extended to when somebody dies?
I think that certain ones should. Where does a person's private medical information end? Does it end at life and then it's totally public? I mean, should the public knows when someone passes away what operations they had, what diseases or what all they've been treated for throughout their life? And what we're working on, it may not be a completely closed record. We may be able to release the cause of death, because, particularly we had a case, I believe it was here in Knox County or in East Tennessee, where there was a person that died after a car accident, but it turned out the cause of death really wasn't due to the car accident. And, that can be released both to legal authorities who's trying to decide whether to charge someone with manslaughter or not. I think it's very important. But also, if that person had had a facelift or they had had, some very personal surgery, if they had been treated, let's say, for AIDS or venereal disease at some time in the distant past, that has no relevance whatsoever to what's going on right now or to why they died. And it could soil the person's reputation. Certain material like that should be kept confidential.
All right. And was there anything that we haven't talked about that'd be good for our viewers to know about this session?
That's going to take many other states to do the same thing. There's already been some that have passed it, and we will just be adding Tennessee's names to that. It's already passed the House in the 2023 session. It did not have a Senate sponsor, so I picked it up for the 2024 session.
All right, Senator Briggs, thank you for taking the time out to do this.
Okay, well, good luck catching the other legislators.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it'll be an issue. So what's funny is I'm actually working well ahead of doing this, because usually we reach out to you guys on January 1st, which is a horrible time.
Yeah. Well, you're doing it. Live, learn, you learn a lot. So, you're doing it the right way.
Yep. All right. You have a great day.
Hey, you have a safe, Happy New Year.
All right. You too.
Bye.
All right. Bye.